As regulators take a far more robust stance towards the Ghanaian banking sector, an industry player tells us whether these changes are for the positive or negative. Daniel Asiedu of Zenith Bank Ghana joins me with his thoughts. So let's first talk about economic growth prospects. We know that the next quarter is going to bring a slowdown, right? So in the larger picture, tell me, where does the banking sector fit in?
When you look at the growth trend of the Ghanaian economy up to 2013 closed at a growth rate of about 7.3%. Last year dropped to 4%. And then this year is projected to close at 3.9%. So you could see that the economy's growth has been sliding. And this has been attributable to inflation, depreciation of the cedi, and the energy crisis. And having said that, of course, when you look at how growth has been projected, next year we are looking at a growth rate of about 6.4%, and then that should rise to about 7.8% in 2017. Inflation currently is about 16.9%, and that has been projected to close the year at 12%. And then next year we are looking at a rate of about 10.2%. And so when you put all this together, you will see that the future looks bright. And so as an industry, what role can we play? What we have to do is to look at the productive sector and support it aggressively. We have to also look at the companies that export and also support them. So this is a time that we as a financial institution playing the intermediary role, we must be visible in our support for the government so that the economy will be put on the growth path.
Now, in terms of government intervention, we know that regulation has been ramped up in your country. So tell me, how has that had an impact on the banking sector? Would you say a net positive or negative?
Basically, regulation all over the world has been stepped up, and our country has not been left out. And that's because we all know the impact or the implication of non-proper regulation. We know what's happening in the world. When you look at it from that perspective, you will agree with me that it's made banking a bit tough. However, the net effect is that we are all better off. Customers now have more confidence in the industry. The international community, especially the correspondent banks we deal with, have a lot of confidence in us. The system is more transparent, and so you have nothing to worry about.
So, Daniel, as these regulatory changes are implemented, your bank, any bank, is going to have to reposition itself. So how have you done that?
Let me start by saying that as a bank, before even regulation was stepped up, we have been built on a culture of compliance and very strong controls. You will see that most of the things we do are things that have been designed as a result of the experience we've acquired over time, so that whatever we do, we have at the back of our mind that we need to ensure that the system is quite tight. In West Africa, we were the first bank to be licensed by Visa to do web acquiring, and that's to tell you, for Visa to give you that platform, to tell you the comfort they have in your system. We've had calls to partner with regulators, the Bank of Ghana, for some of the systems they intend to roll out. And when the National Risk Assessment Committee was set up, we, a staff of Zenith Bank, was nominated to represent the banking industry. So we think that we are on the right path because we've positioned the bank along those lines.
Okay, excellent. Now, of course, there's always improvements that can be made. If you could speak directly to central bank governors, what other regulatory adjustments would you make?
You agree with me that the environment is quite turbulent and things are changing. Nothing is dynamic. And so even though we may have system processes in place, we need to constantly update them. I think that as we move along and as events unfold, the regulators look at how things are done and come up with other ways and better ways of ensuring that the system is better off. So sitting here, I will not be able to, but I know that the central bank will continue to work in the industry in the interest of all players.
Okay, now when you talk about optics, when it comes to Africa as a whole, combating terrorism is a sticky situation. Tell me, how can the banking sector see improvements be made in terms of how this issue is tackled?
Let me start by saying that I think that we all need to realize that there is a problem. There is a problem with money laundering. There is a problem with financing of terrorism. And we may not be experiencing it directly in Ghana, where I'm from, but all over the world it's happening. And if care is not taken very soon, it's going to affect us in our market. And so the earlier we all position ourselves, the better. And I think as an industry, we need to support the government. As an industry, we need to be proactive. We need to appreciate what the government is doing. And so we must all have systems and processes to make sure that we support government to achieve this particular objective of ensuring that we stop fraudsters from operating environment.
Okay, and are you instilled with confidence that this is indeed what will happen, that this sort of troubling period is one that the banking sector, the continent as a whole, will be able to eventually move on from?
We have an association, which incidentally I am the treasurer, and when we go for our meetings, these are some of the things we discuss, that it's important that the industry position itself to tackle some of these problems heads on, to support government. Government cannot do it alone. We are the players of the industry, and government can only push it from the regulation point of view. We must implement, and it's important that we support government.
Okay, Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me here.